The widow's ranch and the woman who changed the valley. The journey no one envied. When Clara Whitmore stepped off the dust-covered stagecoach, the wind hit her first, sharp, dry, and merciless, like the valley itself. The town of Red Hollow lay before her, small and silent, framed by endless plains and distant mountains that looked more like walls than horizons. No one smiled to welcome her. People rarely did when a woman arrived alone. She adjusted her worn coat and held her single suitcase tighter. This wasn't the life she had imagined. Back east, she had been a schoolteacher with dreams of chalkboards, warm classrooms, and a future that made sense. But life had its own handwriting, messy, cruel, and final. Her parents were gone. The school closed. And when the letter arrived offering work as a caretaker and teacher for 3 children on a remote ranch, she had said yes because there was nothing else left to say. They sent her, people whispered later, to the coldest ranch in the valley. The Harlan Ranch, owned by Ethan Cole, a widowed cowboy known for his silence, his grief, and the 3 children no one could manage. The widowed cowboy, Ethan Cole, did not come to greet her. That alone should have warned her. Instead, a ranch hand pointed silently toward the house, a wide, weather-beaten structure that stood stubbornly against the wind. Horses moved slowly nearby. The land felt heavy, as if it remembered every sorrow buried beneath it. Ethan watched from the porch. Tall, broad-shouldered, eyes like storms that had learned to stay quiet. His wife, Margaret, had died 2 years earlier during a harsh winter illness. Since then, the valley said, the man had closed himself off, not just from people, but from life itself. 3 children remained. Luke, 14, angry and wild. Emma, 10, silent and watchful. Noah, 6, scared of the dark and everything else. No caretaker had lasted more than a month. Some didn't make it a week. The first night, Clara's first night, was chaos. Luke refused to come in for dinner. Emma stared at her like she was a stranger who would disappear by morning. Noah cried himself to sleep, calling for a mother who would never answer. And Ethan, he said only 3 words. "They're your responsibility." Then he walked out. Clara sat alone at the table long after the candles burned low, wondering what kind of man left his children with a stranger and called it hope. She cried quietly that night. But she didn't pack her bags. The week that changed everything. By the 3rd day, the valley began to notice. Smoke rose from the Harlan Ranch chimney again, steady, warm, alive. Children's laughter echoed where silence had ruled. On the 4th day, Clara walked Luke to town herself after hearing he'd been skipping chores and starting fights. She didn't scold him. She listened. That shocked people. By the 5th day, Emma was braiding Clara's hair by the fire, whispering secrets about her mother's favorite songs. And on the 7th day, something happened that no one forgot. The fire. A sudden brush fire broke out near the eastern fields. The wind turned vicious. Men rushed with buckets and horses, but it was Clara who ran first. She organized the children, moved them to safety, and then, against every expectation, rode back out with Ethan to help contain the flames. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't afraid. She was leading. When the fire finally died, the valley stood stunned. The schoolteacher from the east had done what seasoned ranchers hesitated to do. That night, Ethan looked at her differently. Not as a burden, not as hired help, but as something dangerous. Hope. The man behind the silence. Ethan finally spoke. Not much, but enough. He told her about Margaret, how she used to sing while cooking, how winter stole her breath, how grief stole his voice. "I didn't know how to keep them," he admitted, staring at the fire. "Or myself." Clara listened. That shocked him most. She didn't try to fix him. She stayed. The valley watches. Weeks passed. The children changed. Luke learned responsibility. Emma learned joy. Noah learned to sleep without fear. And Ethan, he laughed. Once. Then again. The valley whispered. They sent her to survive, people said. But she made them live. Love, quiet and strong. Love didn't arrive like lightning. It came like dawn, slow, warm, undeniable. A shared look across the table. A hand held during storms. A promise spoken without words. Clara knew she could leave anytime. Ethan knew he'd never survive it. The choice. When an offer came for Clara to return east, to teach, to start over, she stood at the edge of the valley and finally understood. Home wasn't a place. It was people who needed you. She stayed. Final part. The valley remembers. Years later, Red Hollow would tell the story differently. They wouldn't say a woman was sent to a widowed cowboy. They'd say, a broken ranch met a brave woman, and the valley was never the same again. If this story touched your heart, remember, sometimes the place that scares us most is the place that heals us. Subscribe to the channel, because the next story might feel like it was written just for you. Heart.